So today I'm going to show you how to do a loop stitch, which you can use with some of the new large Sew Easy heads, including the ones that you see here, the Lazy Daisy and the Vine. You don't need to do this, you can use a back stitch, but you will also get some different looks if you do it this way. So here I've already punched out my shapes and I've actually drawn them in for you so that you can see where the dots connect, and it might be a little bit easier on the eyes here. So I've done it for the daisies. I've also done the center part of the vine. I haven't drawn in where the leaves go because I wanted to show you some different ways you can do it. It's kind of neat because you can connect the dots however you want to make different looks depending on what you're going for. So you could just go from every other one and connect one to each going out opposite directions. You could bring two of them into the same point if you wanted to, like this. You could skip one and do the next one. Again, come together. If you wanted to, you can also turn it around and go upside down, so it doesn't matter which way you punch this, you can make your leaves go whichever way you want. So I'm going to start by showing you the basic technique through the vine here. So we're going to start by pulling our needle up through the back at the very end. I'm not going to go the whole vine for simplicity's sake and just go up 4 or 5 of the punches. You're going to leave a nice couple of inches of tail this way, and I'll show you why at the end without taping it down. So then we're going to go back down at the top of our vine. Again, I'm just going to do part of this. And then we're going to pull it so that it's not completely tight. We're going to leave a little bit of leeway there. And again, I'll show you why at the end. So then we're going to go up and down the same hole, and that's the basic technique here. We're going up and down the same holes to make loops. So we're going to go up and down this next hole to secure this in place and make it look like a vine. So up we go, and then we're going to go back down the same hole after you put your needle over top of the thread that you've got there on top. Okay, don't worry if it doesn't look perfect right now. Just keep going. Again, we're going to go up and down on the next hole. So here we go, up we go, and then back down on the other side of our thread that we've got there, down through that same hole again. We're going to continue doing this. So up one hole and back down that exact same hole. You don't have to do this again. You can just do a regular back stitch up here, which I'll show you in the card is how I did it at the end there. You'll see my card, and I didn't do it this way. I just did a back stitch. So now that you've done it, you're going to pull on that tail that we left there, and it sort of just smooths out the vine line that we've done there. Okay? So now let's move on to the daisies. Again, it's just going to, we're going to put this little loop around here. Instead of having a straight stitch, we're going to make it a little loop, and it's the same thing with the leaf on the vine. I'm just going to show you on the daisy the technique. So we're going to go up this center hole, and we're going to go back down, but we're not going to pull it all the way through and leave a loop. Then we're going to go up the edge of the petal, loop around, and put our thread needle inside the loop that we've made and go back down that same hole. We're going to go back up the center, and the same thing. So you're going to go up and down the center, up and down the end of the petal, all the way through. So here we go. We're going to tape our thread to the back. You don't want to tape over the holes, although I've taped over the vine holes. I know I'm not going over there, so it'll be fine. So we're going to go up this center hole, and then we're going to pull it nice and tight. And I try to hold it on the back with my finger to hold that nice and tight. It's not the end of the world if it's not tight. You're just going to use more thread than what you did. So then we're going to go back down our hole that we just came up again, and we're just going to take it nice and slow here at the end, so that we don't pull our thread just back through and we've lost our stitch. So we're just going to hold, again you can see how it's nice and tight still. We're going to hold our loop in place and then pull from the back just so that our loop is just below that point that we're going to go up and down next, the edge of the petal. So we're going to go up that hole, pull it nice and tight with holding your petal with your thumb so that you don't pull it back through, and then put your needle inside your loop and then go back down that same hole you just came up. And again, pull it nice and tight so it holds it in place, and there's your first petal. So then we're going to repeat this, and I'm going to show you the whole flower so that you can get used to this technique. So again, we're going to go up the center hole, down the center hole, up the edge of the petal, down the edge of the petal. So we've gone up, now we're going back down again. Again, we're going to hold that loop so it's just below the hole. I pulled it down a little bit low to show you some different things that I noticed when I did it that you can fix. So now that I've got this pulled nice and tight in my little loop, when I go to put my needle in and pull it up, it's just super tight and you don't get that nice oval shape that you want. So all you need to do is just pull that loop a little bit bigger before you actually go back down your hole, and you're ready to go. Voila, another little oval. So you can see I can make different size petals depending on how big that loop is. On the back here, see, I didn't keep it as tight in some of the places that I would. Again, it's not going to hurt anything. It's just, you're just going to use more thread than what you did before. So again, we're going up and down the middle hole, and we're going to pull our loop so it's just below the tip of the petal. Go back up the hole through the tip of the petal. And if you're not holding your petal, you're going to almost lose your thing. So again, I need to just pull my loop up a little bit so that I've got enough there to make a nice round hole. Go back through my petal and down that same hole that I just did. And now we'll finish off the last two here. So we're going to go up the center, down the center. Don't pull all the way through so that you make your loop. Hold it there, pull it down so it's just below that hole. Up through the hole at the tip of the flower. Oops, did it again. Pull it back out, put it down through. Now on this one, this could happen to you as well. Uh-oh, I pulled too hard and it went right down through the back of the paper. No problem, just use your needle or your fingers and just pull it back through again, and then just lightly pull it back through, and you still got your petal there. So again, we're going back up the center, back down the center. Make your loop. Pull it just below. And you're going to go back up the center, or up the edge of the petal. Oh, make sure you hold on to your loops, ladies. Pull it back through. Oh, if you pulled it back too far, that's okay. Just pull on your thread and your needle and just make that loop a little bit smaller again. Back your needle into your loop and then back down the hole you just came up. So once you've finished, if you don't like the shapes of all of them, you can just play with them a little with your fingers or the needle and shape them and work them the way that you want them to look. And there you go. So one more thing, I actually did the vine and added one flower at the top, and I wanted to show you how I did that. I actually, on a scrap piece of paper, used my Sew Easy tool and did a bunch of them, and then I cut out one section and used it as a template to place my flower at the top of my vine, so that you don't get all those extra holes and have to worry about where you're starting. So I just placed it down on my paper and then just used my paper piercer to just manually punch those holes. And I'll just show you a little bit easier by marking them in with a pencil here so you can see how it would sit nicely on top of my vine. So here's the card that I made with the 3 flower vines going up and the flowers at the top. And I used some of the new variegated thread, which is awesome and I am completely in love with. And then I also added one to the inside of my card as well as an extra little touch.